So now it's time to start with the CSS part for the cache calculator application. So for that we need to use the style.css file, and this file is already linked with the index.html. So come back to the style.css. Inside of this particular file, first we need to select the body selector, and inside of the body we need to provide some code. So the first line of the code that we want to provide is the margin. So we need to specify the margin. So margin is going to be 0. And then we need to provide the padding. So padding is going to be 0. And then we need to provide the background. So this will be the property, and instead of that we need to provide the linear gradient function, which is going to be having a value called to right, comma, and then we need to provide the here value which is E0, F, and F. Alright, and then we need to provide the another value which is a hash symbol, and then this is going to be like FF C0 CB. So this will be the secondary color code that will be used. You can see now the gradient color is applied. After that we need to provide the font family. Font family, it is going to like Arial, Helvetica, just removing the Helvetica one, and control save it. You can see the default padding and margin, and also the font is changed for this entire application because we have applied the code inside the body element. Then we need to apply the color. So color is going to be like 3 times 3, which is for the black. Alright, and after that we need to select the container, then we need to start the block of the container. Instead of that, first we need to specify the max width property. So max width, it's going to like 600 pixel, and then we need to provide the margin property. So margin from like top and bottom is going to like 100 pixel, and from left and right it is going to like auto. By control save it, you can see now the margin changed for the container. Okay, and after that we need to provide the padding property, that is from left and right, means from top and bottom is 20 pixel, and from left and right it's going to be 5 pixel. Alright, and then we need to apply the background color. So it is for the linear gradient, so we are going to use the linear gradient function. Again we need to, at this point of time we are going to use it to left. Then we need to provide the color code, which is 3466 D1, and then we need to provide the another color code, which is FF, I can say 1493. If I control save it, now you can see the gradient color is applied to the container. Alright, and for the rounded corners we need to use the border radius property. Border radius is going to like 8 pixel, and then we need to provide the box shadow. So box shadow is going to like 0, then we need to provide the 2 pixel, then the blurriness is going to like 4 pixel, and then we need to provide the RGBA function. Right, inside of that 0, 0, 0 and 0.1. Control save it. Now you can see the box shadow and also the rounded corners applied to the container. Alright, then we need to use here another property which is going to be like display. So display, we are going to use the flex. Then we need to provide the align items. It's going to like a center. Alright, you can see everything is actually aligned in the single row. Then we need to provide the flex direction, which is column. Alright, and then you can simply see how the code is applied. And even I can just simply go and increase the blurriness to here 10 pixel, so that it looks more crisp, means the blurriness applied to the back shadow. Alright, and next we need to create the animation, which is actually a fade in animation. So we need to create the keyframes for the fade in animation, because we need to apply the animation. So keyframe, I can just simply go with the add the rate keyframes, then to provide the identifier name, which is going to be like fade in, then 0%, And then after that, I'm going to provide the 100%. Then we to use the opacity, it's going to 0. And then this is going to be transform property, which is like translate y. And instead of that, we need to provide the minus 20 pixel. Alright, and then we need to provide the 100% like opacity, and this is going to be 1. Then transform and translate y 0. Control save it. And instead of that, we need to provide the animation. Then we need to use the animation fade. It is just fade in, and then the name of the animation we provide the fade in, then 1 second, and this is going to like ease. The control save it. You can see now the fade in animation is applied to the container. Alright, so that marks the code completion for the container. Next, we need to provide the code for the header. So just simply you can come to the index.html. So this is the heading. So we need to provide the header class like header, because I actually forgot in the HTML part. So come back to the style.css. Right, so instead of that, we need to use the header. Then start the block of the code. Then first we need to apply the text align property. Text alignment is going to be like center, and after that we need to provide the margin. The margin bottom is going to be like 20 pixel, and then we need to provide the color. So color is going to be like white. You can see now the code is applied to the heading. Alright, and then we need to provide the code for the rows, because you can see everything is actually wrapped inside the rows, because it is actually treated as a single row. So we need to add the code for the row so that it will look more beautiful. Okay, so I will be using here a row, because it is a, and with the use of the dot, because it is actually a class selector. Then we need to provide the margin top property. So margin top is going to like 10 pixel. Control save it. Then you can see margin is applied to the row, which is a division container. Then we need to set the display property, because right now they are not perfectly aligned. So we need to actually change its display property, which is going to be like display flex. Then justify content like center. And after that, we need to add the align items property. Align items, it is also going to be center. And then we need to provide the transition. Then we need to apply the transform. Transition, transform is like 0.2s. And then we need to provide the ease. Control save it. Now you can see if I just simply, okay, so this is actually a row. Then on the hover, we need to add the effect. So it is like a row. Then we need to provide here the hover, which is a pseudo class element. Instead of that, we need to use the transform and the scale. Instead of the scale, we need to provide 1.05 as a value. Now you can see if I hover, then the scale is actually performed, means the scale transformation. Also, you can see these images, then this input type and this particular span element are actually aligned at this vertical, means horizontally it's aligned properly. Okay, horizontally aligned properly. Now it's time to apply the code for the image in which the currencies are displaying. So image, we need to provide the margin right property, because right now they are very close to each other, means there is no margin. So if I control save it, you can see margin is applied. Now it's time to actually add the code for the input. So we need to select the input element and then array brackets, and then we will find the type, then the not nth type, it is actually a type, nth type, then we will use the number, and then start the block of the code. Here first we need to apply the padding property. So padding is going to be like 10 pixel, and then we need to provide the font size is going to like 15 pixel, then width is going to like 250 pixel. Control save it. You can see the input type is actually modified a lot with the use of these codes. Then to add the border radius property, border radius is going to like 4 pixel. border radius is going to be 4 pixel. Then the border we need to change, it is like border 1 pixel solid, and then after that as symbol 3 times C. Okay, then we need to use the flex. So flex is going to like 1. Okay, the flex property that we have applied here 1, and after that we need to add the transition property, which is like border color 0.3s, and then we need to provide the ease. Okay, and then here we need to add the background color. This is the background color, that is hashtag 3 times F. Alright, and then we need to add here a color property, means once we add the text here, right now if we add the number, so we want to add the color as well. So color hashtag 3 times 3. Alright, background color, and then we need to add here a font weight property. Font weight is going to like 600. You can see now it will become more bold. Okay, so the text will become more bold. Okay guys, so this is for the input type element. Then we need to change the code for the input type on focus state. So here we need to add the selector, which is like focus state, and then we need to start the block of the code. So why I need to actually, because we want to remove these arrows, that is why I actually added this focus. And then we also need to add some more code. So the first thing is we need to use the border color. So border color, then the color is like FF7 EF5. This will be the border color, and then we need to remove the outline. So outline is going to be none. Okay, and then we need to provide the box shadow property. So box shadow 0 0 0, not 0, it's like 2 pixel. And then we need to provide the color code, which is hash symbol F7E5F. Okay, so you can see now the border color of the input type is changed. If you can see it here, there is a slight border color change because the color code is almost same at the left side, which is pink, but in the right side you can see the color code of the border is changing, means the color of the border is changing. Then we need to remove these two things, which is these arrows. So for that we need to actually provide some code by using these some notations, which is like WebKit. Okay, so this is like WebKit, and here we need to type the entire code, which is inner spin button. Okay, and then we need to provide the comma, and also need to start the block of the code, and then we need to actually use it as a duplicate the code, which is WebKit outer spin. Outer spin, not a single double T, we need a single T. You can see now because we need to add the code here and also remove this comma. To remove it, we need to add here like WebKit. Okay, WebKit, and it is for the appearance, that is this one, and need to set the none. If I do that, you can see now this arrow is actually removed. And then to provide the margin, the margin is going to 0. Alright, you can see now the style of the input type is done. Now the next element that we want to style is actually this particular span elements. Okay, this particular span element that we want to apply. So you can see if I enter the text, it's going to do the thing. So let's add the code for the span element. So for that we need to come back to the index.html. So if I come back, so this is the class that we want to use, which is actually used to style this span element, which is a cache text. So come back to the style.css. Then we need to actually use a dot operator, then the name of the selector, because it is a class selector. Instead of that, first we need to add the font weight property. So I'm going to type the code quickly because the difficult part I have already done here. And now it's time to use the margin left property, because these all the properties are very self-explanatory. Okay, because it is a self, you can easily understand it with their name, which is like with 50 pixel, and the most 40 pixel, not 50 pixel. Then we need to use the display inline, and here we want to add the block. And after that, we need to add the another property, which is text color. So it is like text color, not text color, it is like text align. All right. And then we need to add the color, and this is going to be like white. Okay, now I have actually specified the inline block and this text align center and also the width, so that whenever the value will become 2-digit, then it is not going to shift the input type and the image and also itself. I have already explained this in many of my previous courses and also in many of the previous projects. All right. So if you watch that things, then you will understand these 3 lines of the code. Here also how they are actually working. Then we need to add the style code for the button. So we need to select the button here. Button, then start its block of the code. Inside of the button, we need to add the padding property. So padding is going to like 10 pixel, 20 pixel. And then here we need to add the font size. Is going to like 16 pixel. And then we need to add the background color. Background color has symbol FF7E5F. You can see now the color of the button is actually changed. Then we have to add the color as symbol FFF. Then we have to add the border. So border is going to be like none. Then we have to add the border radius, which is going to like 4 pixel. And then to add the cursor. So cursor is going to be like, this is a cursor. We need to add the value here, pointer. Okay, the color is applied. You can see if I hover it, then the cursor changes to pointer. Now you can see if I hover it, if I control save it, and now if I hover it, then you can see the cursor is changes to pointer. Alright, you can see here, and also the animation is also applied to the button as well, because the division element in which it is wrapped means the code is present inside the division element, which is class is actually row. Alright, so that is the reason things are applied to the button as well. So here we need to use the transition property. Transition, then you need to use the background, and then here we need to use the color 0.3s, and it is going to like ease. Okay, and then we need to add a align self property. So align self is going to like flex end. Here we need to add the button, then this is going to like hover. Then we need to start the block of the code. Just like background color as symbol FF6C4A. You can see if I hover it, then you can see color of the button will become little dark orange. Okay, next we need to add the code for the final cache, which is the total cache and the final cache in words. So for that we need to use the ID selectors, because here you can see these are the ID selectors that we are going to use. So copy it, come back to the style.css, has symbol, and then we need to paste the name of the text final cache. Again come back to the index.html, copy this text final cache in words, then has symbol, and then we need to paste the name of the ID, and inside of that first we need to change the font size. So font size is going to like 18 pixel. And then we need to add the font weight. Font weight is going to like bold. Okay, and then we need to add the margin top property. So there should be a margin between the button and the text cache, means the final text cache. So margin top is applied 20 pixel, and then we need to change the color. If I save it, you can see the total cache color is changed. Then we need to style this 0. So come back to the txt final cache in words. Then here we need to provide the margin. So margin top is going to like 10 pixel. Then we need to add the font style property. Font style is going to like italic. And then the color. So color is going to like has symbol FF. I control save it. You can see the text for this particular is also changed. And if I come back to the index.html, we need to actually use this result part so that we can apply some style. This row 1 is actually used to get this particular hover animation, means the hover scale effect, that is this one. But this result part will be used to actually separate these two from the single row, means so that the 0 will be displayed after the end of this particular text, which is the total cache. So for that, here we need to use the dot operator, then the name of the selector. Instead of that, then we need to use the display. It's going to be like flex, and then we use the flex direction, which is column. Alright, you can see now the style is applied to the text final cache in words, and also the application looks similar with the final version of the application. You can see there is a slight modifications in between these text that you can do it by yourself. So from the next video onwards, we're going to start with the JavaScript part, which is the most interesting part for this particular application, and also the second version we will be going to do it because the one video will take up to actually provide this particular functionality to calculate the total cache in numeric form. Then for converting the text in words, which is the final cache in words, this will take a second video because it's involved a lot of things that I need to explain. So that is the reason this particular application will be divided into two different parts of the JavaScript. Alright, so that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.